The Harper government insists oil sands development is key to Canada's economic future, and many in Canada agree. Resource extraction is also leading to an exponential growth in the volume of hazardous materials carried by rail in Canada. Last week, crews in New Brunswick had to blow up remaining fuel after a train carrying crude ran off the rails. That investigation is now wrapped up, and most residents allowed home. And then there was the tragedy in Lac-Mégantic. Joining us to talk about the controversy over shipping crude by rail is our chief political correspondent and host of the West Block, Tom Clark. And Tom, why are derailments of dangerous goods becoming more common in Canada?
Well, Randine, the reason this is becoming a problem is because of how much oil we're shipping by rail. Take a look at this. Back in 2009, we were sending a mere 8,000 metric tons of crude by rail. Well, 2 years later, that became almost 400,000, and by 2012, it had soared to more than 4 million metric tons, and it's still rising. It's all being shipped in these cars. They're called .111s. Now, they are going to be phased out due to safety concerns, but that takes time. It takes a lot of time. Meanwhile, the oil rolls through towns and cities across Canada, but the government feels that the risk is actually minimal. Here's Transport Minister Lisa Raitt.
These cars are safe. They can transport the goods, and they do so safely 99.997% of the time.
The new regulations for tanker cars should be out in a few weeks' time.
So, Tom, new regulations which follow those tougher rules Transport Canada introduced after Lac-Mégantic. Is it all enough?
Well, some analysts say no, that with so much oil moving and more than 100,000 of the .111 cars carrying it, another accident is entirely likely. It is an argument in favor of pipelines, no question, but analyst Jeff Rubin says the problem is actually way bigger than that.
You got to realize, Tom, that for the oil sand producers to reach their dreams of 5 million barrels a day, we're not going to need one Keystone XL. We're probably going to need 2 or 3 of them, and we're probably going to need 1 million barrels a day of oil on rail as well. I'm not sure that that's something Canadians really want.
Well, maybe not, but there aren't many options. In the meantime, improving the rail network is a pretty good first step. Randine?
Tom Clark in Ottawa. Thank you, Tom. Officials in BC's Lower Mainland are looking into the safety of a key rail line that runs through Burnaby. On Saturday, a train carrying coal derailed and flipped over, dumping coal into a stream. That's raised fears a fish habitat may have been compromised. CN News crew was operating the train says erosion and a washout of a beaver dam caused the derailment. There were no injuries.